A 30-year-old opens a retirement calculator, enters their numbers, and watches the screen demand $2.3 million for a comfortable retirement. They close the laptop feeling defeated. The math seems impossible. But what if that calculator is fundamentally wrong about how much you actually need? Most retirement planning operates on a flawed assumption. It treats your spending at 65 exactly the same as your spending at 85. It assumes you'll need the same income for 3 decades straight. Reality works completely differently. Your retirement spending follows a predictable curve that most financial advisors ignore. Research tracking actual retiree spending across thousands of households reveals something striking. Expenses drop significantly as you age, and not because you're forced to cut back. You naturally spend less because your priorities and capabilities shift. The average retiree reduces spending by roughly 1% per year throughout retirement. By 75, you're spending about 15% less than at 65. By 85, you're spending about 30% less. This isn't deprivation, this is reality. The early retirement years from 65 to 75 represent your most active and expensive decade. You travel frequently, you eat out regularly, you pursue hobbies with energy, you help your grandchildren. This phase demands the most money. The middle years from 75 to 85 bring natural moderation. Travel becomes less frequent and less adventurous. You're content staying closer to home. Activities shift toward less expensive pursuits. Your spending drops without feeling like sacrifice. The later years after 85 involve even less spending. Healthcare often increases, but nearly everything else decreases substantially. You're simply not consuming at the same rate. Here's what this means mathematically. If you need $60,000 annually at 65, you don't need $60,000 at 85. You probably need closer to $42,000. Traditional retirement calculators assume you need $60,000 every single year for 30 years. That's $1.8 million. The declining spending curve means you actually need significantly less. But the math gets even more interesting when you factor in Social Security timing and the sequence of your withdrawals. Most people dramatically overestimate their required nest egg because they're calculating wrong. The real number accounts for spending that decreases, Social Security that increases, and withdrawal strategies that adapt. Let me show you exactly how much you can reduce your target. Consider Maria, who retired at 65 with $800,000 saved. Traditional calculators told her she needed $1.2 million. She retired anyway, nervous about running out. 10 years later, her portfolio has actually grown to $950,000 despite regular withdrawals. How? She spent $52,000 annually in her first retirement year. By year 5, she was spending $48,000 without feeling deprived. By year 10, $44,000 felt completely comfortable. Meanwhile, she delayed Social Security until 70, increasing her benefit by 32%. That delayed claiming added $12,000 annually to her guaranteed income for life. The combination of declining spending and increased Social Security meant her portfolio withdrawals dropped from $52,000 at 65 to just $28,000 at 75. Less pressure on the nest egg means more growth potential. This reveals the critical miscalculation. You don't need enough money to maintain peak spending for 30 years. You need enough to cover your highest spending decade while your portfolio transitions to supporting your lower spending decades. The practical target becomes much more achievable. Instead of saving 25 times your retirement spending, you might need just 15 to 18 times your initial spending, depending on Social Security benefits and your claiming strategy. Someone planning for $60,000 in initial retirement spending doesn't need $1.5 million. They likely need $900,000 to $1.1 million, assuming they optimize Social Security timing and accept that spending naturally moderates. This isn't about compromising your retirement vision. It's about understanding actual spending patterns rather than theoretical projections. The couple panicking because they only have $750,000 saved might already have exactly enough. The single person with $500,000 feeling inadequate might be perfectly positioned. Run your numbers again, but this time, account for reality. Factor in spending that declines 1% annually. Include Social Security optimized through delayed claiming. Model actual withdrawal patterns rather than static percentages. The retirement you thought was impossible might be closer than the calculator suggested. The math isn't nearly as brutal when you calculate it correctly. Consider someone with $600,000 saved who believed they needed a million. They delayed retirement for 5 more years, missing experiences they'll never recover. The calculator didn't account for how retirement actually unfolds. Your number might be smaller than you think. Recalculate using reality, not fear. The retirement you want could already be within reach.